You can create a digital clone of yourself with an agent in Relevance AI. When I say digital clone, that means that it will have access to your expert knowledge, it will have access to your values and world philosophies, it will have access to the way that you write and communicate with people, it will have access to tools that you have access to, like searching the web, and it'll be able to mimic you in almost every way when people communicate with it. Let me show you how to build this thing. So here in Relevance AI, I'm going to show you how I built my digital clone agent. It starts with the data. If we actually go under knowledge, this requires a good amount of data. Here I have a database table filled with a couple of full books on copywriting. Then here I have a database table with 10 full books on behavioral economics. I have a database table here with 500 personal questions and answers that I took the time to answer that kind of flesh out just how I view the world, my world philosophy, and etc. And then I have a database table with all of my social media content. This includes comments and replies. This just acts as kind of a database of examples of how I communicate. And then finally, I have a database table with expert knowledge on AI related stuff. So 3 expert knowledge databases, that's copywriting and marketing, behavioral economics, and AI. And then one that serves as kind of like my personality. I call it conscience. And then one that serves as an example of how I communicate. Yeah, those are the database tables. That's the knowledge. Now let's move into tools. So each tool is actually a knowledge-based retrieval tool, but they're each connected to a different database. So this conscience is the knowledge-based retrieval tool connected to those personal questions, then the expert copywriter, then the personality vector is actually what I named the one that's connected to my social media content, AI expert knowledge, expert behavioral knowledge, and let's actually look at what's in here. So knowledge retrieval connected to a database with a query system set up to it. This is where we describe for the language model what the query should consist of, and then it is connected to a language model. Very simple stuff. I also have Google search as a tool in here as well, because that is important for the agent to be able to do. Now let's actually look at the agent. So first we have enabled the tools, the copywriter expert tool, the AI knowledge-based tool, the behavioral economics knowledge tool, the example social media post tool, and then the Google search tool. And then we give it base instructions. You're a digital clone of myself, and as such, you respond to queries in my voice. You have access to databases filled with this knowledge. So this first portion explains what access to data this agent has. You have access to the expert behavioral knowledge vector, the expert AI knowledge vector, personality vector, copywriter, expert, and conscience, and it explains what is in each of those databases. So now the agent knows what information it has access to. Now for the instructions. For every query, follow these steps. Consult the conscience tool to determine what Anthony's general position on the topic would be. Determine which knowledge stores would be the most relevant for the query. So then it's the AI knowledge, the copywriting knowledge, the behavioral economics knowledge, obviously, or a combination. And then if you lack enough context, be sure to access Google and search for up-to-date, most relevant context. And then step 3, consult all of the relevant tools and knowledge bases necessary to have all of the context necessary for answering the query. Finally, consult the personality vector tool, which is the one connected to all of my social posts, my social replies and comments, etc., to determine how Anthony would most likely word his response to this query. And then finally, step 5 is to provide a response to the query in Anthony's voice using the context. And that is how I created a digital clone as an agent in Relevance AI. Now, if we take a look at one of the queries, we can see it in action, right? So please write a LinkedIn post about how to leverage AI agents in your small business. It conducted 3 steps. It consulted with the conscience. It used only the expert AI knowledge vector because the other databases really wouldn't be relevant. And it had enough context, so it didn't need to go to Google. And then it consulted the personality vector. And it came out with this. These are emojis that I tend to use a lot in my social posts, so that was very accurate. Hey, LinkedIn community. I say things like, hey, fam. I address LinkedIn as a whole a lot, so this was also very accurate. And then it gave a numbered list. That's something I'm pretty well known for doing as well. Here we have another one where I gave an entire article that was written on my website to the agent and asked for a social post. And this time it didn't consult any of the knowledge bases because it had so much context. It was asked to just summarize and comment on the article, so it didn't need to consult those databases, so just consulted the conscience and the personality vector. There's my favorite rocket ship emoji, but again, it came out with a well-structured post, just like I would post on LinkedIn. So this is my digital clone. And you could build an agent and do the same thing. Now, why would you want to do that? Because obviously you can deploy it to help you. Currently, I use mine to make a lot of my social media content for me. There are other instances where that could be very useful as well. I consult with it for marketing things because it has access to really great databases. The only challenge here is that it takes some time to gather all the data for those databases. It took me a while to get all of those books kind of compiled into text format that was easily downloadable to the database. And then, of course, answering the personal questions for the conscience database was quite an endeavor. But ultimately, I'm very happy with the results and actually intend on making it even better. I'm going to add a new database soon with personal stories. And then I'm going to instruct the bot, the agent, whenever answering a query, to try to tie in one of those personal stories and then test its hand at storytelling content. But I'm excited about it. Anyway, hopefully this helps. Let me know if you decide to build your own personal digital clone agent. Cheers.